I've got in front of me this wonderful new machine made by Janome. It's the TXL607, and it's a great machine for all sewers. Now, I come at sewing from the patchwork and quilting point of view, but anybody could use this particular little machine. It's a real doddle to use. You say, oh, it can't possibly be, I don't understand sewing machines. Let me show you. Right, it is on at the moment. I'm going to turn it off so I can show you exactly how easy it is to turn it on. Extend hand, press button at the side, turn it on. Wait a couple of seconds, boom, and it makes this sort of oink noise, and it starts. Now, the machine itself is extraordinarily easy to use. It has a wide range of patterns. It has the ability to move the needle from one side to the other. It has the ability to move the stitch length. And you haven't got sort of a cursor underneath. You've got a nice little panel here. So when I've turned the machine on, suppose I want to use 1/4 of an inch, because the great thing about this machine is you can leave the regular straight stitch foot on. And if I just take this foot off and hold it, the camera can see the regular straight stitch foot. There is the regular straight stitch foot. This foot is brilliant for doing all your sewing because it has a flat bottom. Oh, to have a flat bottom. Now, I can put this foot on, but if I use the foot with the needle in the middle, I don't get my accurate 1/4 of an inch. How I can do it very easily with this machine, and indeed with quite a lot of Janome's brothers and many machines of similar sort, is I can do it by moving the stitch width. If I'm in regular straight stitch, I can move the stitch length, the stitch width rather, to the right distance from the edge of the presser foot. So by moving the stitch width, I can set the needle at the right distance from the edge of the presser foot. All I do is simply hit this, which is your stitch width, set the measurement at 5.5. This now sets my needle at exactly 1/4 of an inch from this edge of the presser foot. That distance is 1/4 of an inch. And let me show you how it is. You would put your fabric underneath the edge there. I like to start all my sewing by dropping the needle down before I begin. That anchors the fabrics. Now, this machine has a double advantage because you can either run the machine using the regular presser foot, like that. You, of course, put it on the floor and put your foot on it, or it will work without the regular presser foot in. Sometimes you can't always use both feet. Maybe your feet perhaps aren't as mobile as they used to be. For some reason, you people like to use start and stop. And here is your start and stop button. Now, there is a speed control here, and I'm going to turn the speed control down really slow because I can't cope with the start and stop button. My foot's so used to putting its foot on the foot control and going for it. You know, like driving a car, I go flat out. But by pressing the start and stop button, the machine will go nicely along by itself, and I don't need to use any feet. It's a very nice straight machine, and it does grip the fabric very well. If I wanted to go faster, this is where I start to get panicky because I can't cope with that foot control. Oh! Stop it. So that's how the machine works. It has a wide range of different patterns. Now, when you get the box of tricks, they're an instructional DVD. Get your teeth around the right words, Jennifer. Instructional DVD comes with it. Full instructions in the instruction book. You get in that packet this little card, and you think, what's this little card for? This little card shows you all the patterns that this machine actually does, and it does a wide range of patterns, and it does an awful lot of letters. In the bags of the various bits, you'll find there's a neat little clippy thing. This clippy thing sits on the back of your machine, up the top here somewhere. If I just raise my body, I can find it. There it is. Oops. Oh dear, dear. We'll have to have a camera cut now because I've just made it bing. Oh dear, just can't get the staff these days, can you? We've now retrieved it. Right, this little clip goes in the back of the machine, and into that goes your card. And you can just slot the card in, turn it round, and you can either have the numbers and the letters, or you can have the various patterns. So you can see at a glance what you're going to get. In addition, you can get to go with this machine a wonderful quilting accessory kit, which is here. The machine itself does come with a whole load of various different bits and pieces. You've got different feet, etc., and also thread caps and indeed the inevitable stitch ripper. Now that is the little machine. Simple to thread up, simple to use. It's even got a cutting facility, a pair of scissors, which will, if you press that, actually cut the thread. It whirs, it peeps and squeaks, and then it cuts the thread. And there you are, thread cut. So I haven't even got to worry about that. I'm going to use this now to make a star. A very, very quick star, and I'll put that on the floor because I really can't cope with not having a foot control. Plug it into the machine. Goes in down the side there. There it is on. I've set my machine at 1/4 inch, 5.5, needle to this side of the presser foot. I'm going to make an Amish friendship star. There is the Amish friendship star. Very, very simple. If you cut squares, now I'm going to make an Amish friendship star of 9 inches finished. I'm going to cut 4-inch squares, which I know is slightly big, and some of you who do patchwork think, why isn't she cutting 3 and 7/8 inch ones? That's because I'm going to trim them back. You might remember Valerie did show this little trick some time ago. Taking 4-inch squares, I'm going to put 2 squares together, right sides together. Do make sure you get it that way round. Having done that, I'm going to draw a line right from one corner to the other. You would preferably draw it in pencil, not in biro. Now, because I'm doing this particular design, I'm going to need 2 of these units. So I've got 2 squares together with a line drawn, and I'm going to repeat it with 2 more squares together with a line drawn. So put your fabrics right sides together. Do remember that, because if you don't get them right sides together, you will have a right hiccup in the end and have to do unpicking. So draw your line right the way across, preferably in pencil. Having done that, stick it underneath the sewing machine. Remember, we're going to be using 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you're going to sew this side of the drawn line using 1/4 inch, and then the other side of the drawn line at the same distance. So finding my foot control. Remember, you've got a speed control here. Proceed along. I won't go too fast. I'll go a bit faster than that. Now I'm going to do what is known as chain piecing. When I get to the end here, rather than cutting my threads, which of course you can on this machine, I'm going to sew off the first bit onto the next one, all the way down towards the bottom. Now, because I'm seriously lazy, I'm now going to find my little scissors, cut the thread at the back here, turn the work round, so I can now sew the other side of the drawn line. So sew off that, down the other side of the drawn line, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Retrieve the other one. There he is, at the back there. Off there, down there. Right, and when I get to the bottom, what I'm going to do is press the cut. And there we are. Right, having done my stitching, and you can see I've sewn either side of the drawn line, all I'm going to do now is cut up the drawn line. So rotary cutter and ruler, and I'm doing this sitting down, but believe you me, it will actually get a better cut if you do it standing up. So we're going to cut up the drawn line there, one up there, one up here. Having done that, it'll be to the iron, and because I'm fussy, I like to press my seams open and flat. So to the iron, open the block, get your iron out, press the seam open and flat. Oh dear, can't get my fingers in the crack today. That's it. Because you don't have to iron at this strange angle either. So there's one. And you're going to repeat that 4 times. When you've done the pressing, to complete this particular star, you are going to need to trim these blocks back to being 3½ inches. There's the second one. Number 3 coming up. So press your seams open and flat, if you can get them open. Your fingers aren't working that well today. There we are. Get your fingers stuck in there. It's because I cut my fingernails, you see, for Just Hands On. Usually they're sort of nice and long, but had to have them tidy today. There's number, and the last one. That's it. Because it's boring watching somebody iron. Right, and the last little one. The reason for pressing the seams open and flat is really to make the work as flat as possible. If you press them to one side, and I know people say press them to one side, it can form lumps in your patchwork. Right, to make the Amish friendship star, we need these 4 blocks. You will need to cut them back to being 3.5 inches square, and it will be just literally trimming the merest tad off the edge of the block. I'm not going to waste your time by showing you how to cut 3.5 inches there, but if you put the ruler onto the block, if I move that out the way there, can you just see I can just a smidge to trim back. Trim them all back to being 3.5 inches. Cut yourself 4 more 3.5 inches in one of the colours, 1 more 3.5 inches in the next colour. Lay the block out like this, and the shapes literally just pinwheel round. One goes there, one goes there, one goes there, and one goes there. This little Charlie goes in the middle, that little Charlie goes there, this one goes here, that one goes there, that one goes there. And that's your Amish friendship star. Now I'm going to very rapidly sew it together, and you'll see it rapidly stitched together. Because it's basically a 9 patch, it's 3. What I'm going to do is not stitch it together as 3 rows. I'm going to do 2 together, 2 together, stick 2 on the end there, and then only 1 row of 3. Right, so very quickly, taking the various pieces, put them right sides together, line up the various bits and bobs, shove it underneath the sewing machine, drop your needle down, and proceed in orderly fashion right to the very end. Go a bit faster. When I get to the end, I'm going to pick up the next set. Here they are, and shove the next set under. That's it. I'm not going for absolute total accuracy now. I'm going for how to. You will do it considerably better than this and keep everything all nice and flat and even, won't you? Yes, miss. So she's getting really scary. To there, and I can pick up the next little lot. Now I've forgotten which side I've got to stitch together. There we are. Of course, it'd be quite a good idea if you pinned it, but we're just doing this for speed. Down here. You can say, oh, dreadful woman never gets her piecing right. Right down to the bottom. Where's my scissors gone to? There's my scissors. Now, it does pay to lay the block out as you stitch it, because, believe you me, you can get this in one heck of a muddle. I'm going to leave that one there, pick up the next 2. Great believer in saving thread. Thread's expensive these days. Shove it under, sew off that. Down the bottom, to the bottom here. Cut my threads there. Come on, cut it. That's it. Whir, peep, squeak. Done. You can tell it's cut it because of the noise. Cut that between there. Nearly there. Right, that section goes there. On the end of this, I'm going to put another one. So there we are. Pop that one there. Just double check I've still got it the right way around. Yes, wouldn't like to make a right fool of myself on camera yet again by getting something completely and utterly around the what's it. Drop my needle down. Sew that lot together. You will press all your seams amazingly open and flat. I'm not going to bother for this very quick demonstration. Put those 2 pieces together there. But I am going to try and open them as I go. Underneath there, open the seams. I must confess these days I very often don't do a lot of pressing until the very end of the work, simply because on the iron you really can do some damage with when you press it. Try and get those together. I'll have to peer it over the top of my glasses, give it a good yank. Nothing like a good yank. To the bottom here. This is going to be an appallingly put together block, but you'll see how it goes. To the end, let's keep that seam open. To the end there. Off the end. Cut my threads. Cut that off there. That's that section done. Put this on the end here. And this is nearly 2 more lines of stitch, and that'll be your Amish friendship star done. So press your seams open and flat. Keep them open. You could do all sorts of fancy things like pinning it. I mean, I would expect you to do that. But this is just speed. Didn't cut it there, but never mind. That's right. Okie dokie. And one last line to go on the bottom there. That's a bit naff, but we won't worry about that because this is speed. I don't think I've ever done anything quite so not brilliant as this, but it will show you how it gets done. Open your seams. I'm going to have to do a spot of persuading. Sit there. Ignore that bit, folks. And a bit of push and pull. There's a technical word called ease. Ease means give it a jolly good push or pull. Ideally, you should cut all your little ears off, but for speed, here we are. That is the little ears on the fabric, not the ears on your head. Over the lump in the middle to the end there. Cut, cut, there we are, fantastic. So you can see this dear little machine, and there is your Amish friendship star.